Okay, writing an expression as a single logarithm. So there's a couple of rules that we can use to help us condense logarithms. If logarithms have the same base, let's call it just some b. We need an argument for the logarithm. Let's say x. Call it whatever you want in there. There could be a bunch of stuff in there. It doesn't have to be just the letter x. But if you add two logarithms with the same base, then you can rewrite them as one condensed logarithm. The arguments of the logarithms just have to multiply, so that has to be x times y. Or if you have log base b of x subtracted by log base b of y, again you can condense them. Log base b, except it's x divided by y. Okay, if you're subtracting two logarithms as the same base, you can rewrite it as a log base b of x divided by y. They can the two arguments can divide with each other instead of multiply. And then we have one last rule. If you're taking a logarithm, doesn't matter what power, if the argument has it doesn't matter what base. If the argument has a power of r, then that r can come down and multiply. So we often have to make that r come down and multiply before we get to apply rule 1 or rule 2 here. Okay, so let's check out this problem. Excuse me. Yeah, so like the 5, we got to take care of that 5 first. So the first thing I'm going to do as I copy this over, I'm going to write log base 7. I'm going to use that third property we just looked at. Since 5 is a coefficient of the logarithm, it's multiplying with the logarithm, I'm going to move it as an exponent on top of that y minus 4. Same thing with that 7. It's log base 7 of y plus 3 now to the 7th power. Okay, because this 7 here came on top of the y plus 3 part. And so now we can start doing some condensing. You've got to do that first. Get rid of like the numbers that are multiplying in front of the logarithm. Now it's the subtraction rule. And if you remember, that means that we're supposed to divide the two things. So this is supposed to be log base 7 of y minus 4 is all to the 5th over y plus 3. This is all to the 7th. Alright, so base is 7. That didn't change. Then we need a fraction, and then we said y minus 4 to the 5th power, and then y plus 3 to the 7th power. Let's try another one. Excuse me. Same thing with this 4, and that 1/4. We're going to have to rewrite both of those, okay? So when I copy this over, I'm not going to write 4 log base c of z. I'm going to write 4 log base c of z to the 4th power. The 4 is going to come and be a power here. Same thing with that 1/4. Raising something to the 1/4 power is the same thing as fourth rooting something, but looks like Alex doesn't have radicals in here, so we're just going to leave it as a power. So this is w to the 1/4, and then plus log base c of x to the 3rd. Okay, so we got 3 terms this time. Let's just take them one at a time. Let's condense these two together. We know when you subtract two logarithms of the same base, you can rewrite it as a division problem. You can rewrite it using division as like one big happy family with a fraction. And now we're adding a log base c of x to the 3rd. So we can rewrite that as log base c of, now x to the 3rd multiplying to this fraction, you would put it up top, okay? Because it's like you're multiplying by x to the 3rd over 1. And when you multiply fractions, you multiply straight across the top and straight across the bottom, okay? So this has got to be x to the 3rd over z to the 4th over, I think I said over too early, x to the 3rd z to the 4th over w to the 1/4. And so that's our condensed logarithm, believe it or not. Letter C for power. Then we got a fraction, x to the 3rd, z to the 4th, over w to the 1/4 power. I think they're all going to be like this now. That one, yeah, let's do this one real quick because it is a little different. Alex kind of has 3 levels, like 3 levels of difficulty. Oh, here, let's just do the same thing. Make that 2 come on top of that power, come on top of w. So that's log base 4 of w squared plus. Now, if you distribute this 4, that becomes 4 log base 4 of z minus 12. You got to multiply that 4 to both of the terms inside the parentheses. So that's 12 log base 4 of x. And this stays the same. That one's just waiting for something to simplify with it. That 4 can come on top of that z and be a power, so it's log base 4 of z to the 4th. And now that 12 can come on top and be a power, so it's log base 4 of x to the 12th. And now when you add two things, they multiply using those logarithm rules we looked at the beginning of the video. W squared, that's z to the 4th. I don't know how anybody puts up with my computer handwriting. Gotta get one of those pads. So they're adding, so that means they can come together and multiply inside this logarithm. And now since these are subtracting, they can come together like this. There we go. Just to show you, I'll type that in. It's also a good way for me to check this a couple of times where it's good that I type in the answer because I realized I dropped a number. X to the 12. Okay.